Number one rule of Wall Street. Nobody, I don't care if you're Warren Buffett or if you're Jimmy Buffett, nobody knows if the stock is going to go up, down, sideways, or in fucking circles. Least of all stockbrokers. Right? It's all a fugazi. You know what a fugazi is? Stay with me. So if you got a client who bought stock at 8 and it now sits at 16 and he's all fucking happy, he wants to cash in, liquidate, take his fucking money and run home, you don't let him do that.
Okay.
Because that would make it real.
Right.
No, what do? You get another brilliant idea, a special idea, another situation, another stock to reinvest his earnings and then some. And he will every single time because they're fucking addicted. And then you just keep doing this again and again and again.
Welcome to Market Makers, everybody. Your home for tomorrow's TA today. Often imitated, never replicated. This is a special weekend transmission. I'm recording this Saturday afternoon. Lee will have it up Sunday morning for everybody because Lee has a special music event to go to on Monday with his girlfriend. He's going to see, what a fantastic event, by the way. He's going to see the former bandmates of One Direction. So I told him it's the perfect time. He can wear those leather assless chaps that he bought for Halloween. I'm sure he'll fit right in there. Have a good one, Lee. I hope you really enjoy it. He's going to have a lot of fun editing this video.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just keep.
Guys, this is the place to come to for Base Giga Chad TA.
Dylan! You son of a bitch.
What a badass movie. If anybody hasn't seen the original Predator, you need to watch that movie. Because let me ask you a question. Would you rather have a special forces team led by Arnold Schwarzenegger in his prime, Jesse the Body Ventura, and a bunch of other badasses versus a superhuman creature-like thing from outer space with laser weapons? Would you rather have them protect you or a 21-year-old supermodel Native American girl with a bow and arrow and rocks? It's the difference of growing up in the 80s and 90s and growing up today. I could tell you who I'd rather go to dinner with, but for protection, I'm going to stick with the special forces guys who happen to be monsters and carry automatic weapons. That's the direction I'm going. Guys, let's talk about the bubble that we are trading in because it is a bubble. But what does Bloomberg say? What do the expert money managers say? Lee, roll the tape from Friday.
This is not a bubble. This is not a mania. So say Goldman Sachs, Peter Oppenheimer. We're going to debate that thesis over the next hour. Countdown to the open kicks in right now. We begin with a big issue. New month, same story.
We've got these markets at record highs.
Record highs. All-time highs.
The equity rally. It's pretty hard to fight at this point.
I think we're going to see a broadening out.
You are seeing a broadening out to other parts of the large cap universe.
That is a good narrative for a healthy bull market.
We do see in that Goldilocks scenario some quite substantial upside still to come.
Momentum, sentiment is driving this market higher.
Confidence in growth, inflation, and interest rates coming down.
Positive U.S. growth coupled with Fed cuts, which will come even if we get a little bit of a slowdown, means that you can have a pretty positive outlook for equities.
They're reflecting pretty good fundamentals.
So the aggregate measure of equity positioning does not suggest euphoria.
I don't think the valuations yet are consistent with any kind of bubble or mania.
And now for something completely different.
Yes, that's right. It's not a bubble. Don't worry, it's not a bubble. Let's talk about another 100% indicator that tells you you are in a bubble. You guys know about the recession indicators that are 100% for tracking recessions, the leading economic indicators, 3-month 10-year yield. That's going to come. That recession's going to come. But let's talk about a great bubble indicator for stock market valuations. Lee, throw up the Shiller PE. If you guys don't know what the Shiller PE is, this is a 10-year inflation-adjusted earnings of the marketplace. Look where we are at in the Shiller PE, 34.58. Lee, highlight 1929. 1929, we got up to 31, over 30 on the Shiller PE. Highlight .com, we got up to 44 on the Shiller PE. Highlight 2021, Lee. We got up to 38 on the Shiller PE. And right now where we are at 34. Now, this is another 100% indicator. Every single time you get over 30, you get a market crash. Not 50% of the time, not 75% of the time, 100% of the time. And just to rewind the clocks a little bit, guys, what happened in 2022? So in other words, Shiller PE peaked in 2021. What happened in 2022? NASDAQ fell 38%. S&P fell 28%. Bitcoin fell 75%. And once again, you were over 30. And by the way, we're at about an 88.6% retracement of that 38.58 from 2021. I think, and I have a lot of faith in the buy pigs in this market, right? The FOMO so strong. I think we could easily take out this 38 rating. When we get our retracement, get that massive blow off top, I would not be surprised to see this PE take out the .com PE, and that would be absolutely fantastic for trading. Remember, when Japan got to 65, it took them 30 plus years to recover in that stock market crash. And another key difference between now and all of these previous crashes, Apollo Torsten Slok, one of my favorite economists, released this as well. But this is all over FinTwit as well. This is the largest concentration of wealth and the fewest amount of stocks in stock market history. In .com, you had Tech Media Telecom, which is about 100 companies, TMT, and then you had the Nifty 50 in the 70s. And remember, those crashes resulted in the S&P going down more than 50%. Obviously, the NASDAQ and .com went down 84%. So this is going to be an exciting marketplace. And what we're looking for still is for the market to find its top. I'm looking for a retracement and then a basing process and then a blow off top. We're going to go over all of that in the charts here today. Lee, without further ado, let's start the show. As always, everybody, this transmission is brought to you by our two fantastic sponsors, BingX and SimpleFX. Guys, our SimpleFX tournament is starting now. It costs you nothing to enter if you have an account. Just trade this month. I'll put the link for the leaderboard so you can see where you are rated. And this is up to $20,000 in cash prizes. If you want to start a new account, the link will also be pinned in the YouTube comments. It's in the video description. Message Lee in Telegram with any questions. It's free money, guys. No gimmicks. If you're a user, if you are a trader, you're automatically entered under our link exclusively. So check that out. All right, let's go ahead and start with the E-mini S&P. S&P, guys, fractal pattern over and over again, 20% waves, 10% corrections, all throughout here except for this final wave. We're about to hit 25% now on this final wave. So let's zoom out, let's step back, let's take a breath and see where we are here. Where is our resistance? This is on the weekly time frame. Let's look at some larger pattern resistance here. All-time high, previous all-time high, down to your market low. Look at the 1272, 5163. Price right now is 5146. I think it actually closed a little bit lower than that. 5146. But 5163 is a key resistance area. So let's see if we can find something around there in the smaller time frames. Let's start off with the 8-hour time frame because I want to see this W pattern, right? Here's that W pattern. And of course, you have the looping of the price and price getting rejected somewhere up here. So let's see if we can find this on a fib. Pull our fib down here on the W pattern. Look at the 1618. Once again, harmonic expansion, 5146. Price is 5138 right now here on the weekend, okay? So you got rejected from 5146. Does that mean you should short it here and it's going to collapse? No, it does not. I trade with patterns, guys. I want to see a pattern. Just hitting a number doesn't mean anything to me, but this is providing resistance right now. And we have that larger resistance on the weekly time frame of 51.63. So once again, I do expect at some point here in the near future for tops to be put in to begin our topping process, and then the retracement for the basing process, and then the pull up, the bounce up, the explosive rocket move for the blow off top. And think about where we're getting into right now, seasonally wise. This is a key pivot point and natural law trading. The spring equinox, long-term subs know that already. Why is the spring equinox important? That's March 21st, I think, again this year, because key events, tops and bottoms and plagues occur during the key pivot points in the market, the spring and fall equinox. Just a quick recap. We had the market top in March of 2000 for the spring equinox and .com. Go forward, we had the market bottom in the GFC, spring equinox of the GFC. Go forward, 2020. When was the plague, guys? The plague carried through in March of 2020. Go forward, when was the bank failure in this cycle? Last year, 2023, SVB, New York SIG, happened in the spring equinox. By the way, when did the first Wall Street banks fail and the GFC? Oh, they failed in the spring equinox. Is there another bank failing right now? Yes, New York Community Bank. And guess what month we're in? The month of the spring equinox. I know it's a 100% coincidence. So that's coming up here in the next few weeks. So if we just keep grinding up to that point, that could be our top for our pull down for the retracement, the basing process, and then the pump up for the blow off top. Remember, time is more important than price. I think these movements are going to play out. It's just a question of when they will play out. So we're going to be watching that closely. So watch 51.46, your immediate next resistance level would be 5,200. Again, just as a cheat sheet, guys, on the S&P, on the E-mini, look at $50 blocks, right? So again, 51.50, 5,200, and that lines up perfectly with the fibs as well. We have Powell doing his testimony next week. That could provide a market top. Monday, Tuesday, we'll see what happens. We'll see if we keep this euphoric rise going up or not, or if we start going sideways. Let's go ahead and go out to the daily here. Look at our indicators for momentum. MFI, you still have bearish divergence. Again, doesn't matter. Momentum, bearish divergence. Again, doesn't matter till it matters. Fewer people paying higher prices will drive the price up, but you're approaching a key resistance zone on a large time frame. You're in a key resistance zone now on the daily time frame. So we're going to keep that in mind. Let's go ahead and start off here as well with the NASDAQ, the NQ, guys. This is the E-mini. Looking here at the 5-day chart, basically the same as a weekly, pulling our fib from the previous all-time high down to the market low, approaching key resistance of the 1272 at 18,476. Let's leave this on here and let's go to the daily chart as well with this, okay? Let's go to the daily chart and see what we have. Actually, let's do the same thing. Let's go to the 8-hour chart so we get more candles. Go ahead and open this up, pull this in so you guys can see this. So we have 18,476 key resistance just above us. You're at 18,321 right now. You guys probably see a couple of things. You've been watching this channel for a while. Here's your W pattern, right? Led to this breakout. And then what do you have here on basic TA? Just basic TA. You have a high, you have a low. You have a higher high, you have a higher low. You have a higher high again. And is this still a higher low? Yeah, it's still a higher low. You have a higher low, and then you keep moving up. So you just have a series of higher highs, higher lows moving up. So let's look at this breakout where it occurred from, where it started from here with the W. Let's do a fib projection. We're going to take this fractal right here, pull it down to the breakout impulse wave. Look where your 1618 lines up perfectly to the dollar with the 1272 from the weekly time frame to the dollar, 18,476. So again, key resistance zone just above you by what, 150 points or so. Watch 18,476 here on the NASDAQ. See if we get rejected, see if we pull down, see if we start topping, see if we get any type of retracement, because so far every time we go sideways in a Wyckoff structure, it has been an accumulation structure for a breakout to the upside. But this is how bubbles act. They keep running and running, kind of like Forrest Gump, until they can't run anymore. And this is what we're looking for, is some type of corrective top to start forming, bring us back down, let all the buy pigs step in, get their discounts, and then really pump this thing up. Because if everything plays out right, guys, once we find a top, I'm going to be short the top, I want to be long at the base, and then obviously take it to the blow off top where I want to be short once again, and then sell and go to the beach. And hopefully Alfred, my butler, will be doing these videos in the near future. Let's go ahead and move forward. Let's look at the Dow. Zoomed out, weekly time frame. Let's just look at a structure. I already know the structure here that I like, which is that July high to the October low. 39,277 remains your top at the 200% retracement. The Dow did not break out. The Dow didn't break out, but the NASDAQ and S&P did. Okay, so 39,277 remains your key resistance. If the Dow starts breaking out, it's 39,142. If it starts breaking out again above this, watch and see what the S&P and the NASDAQ do. Remember, everything's correlated. Everything. Money flows through the market all throughout the same time. So watch that level, and let's go ahead and move forward. Let's look at the Russell. The Russell needs to take out 2,100. Been over this many times. You have this key W pattern here. A larger time frame. Here's your pullback, and you want to see this breakout, right? The 2,200, 2,300 would be the target. Show you that here with fibs as well. If it was to do this, let's look at this. This fib pull gives you 22.15 for the 1618. And then obviously accompanied by this fib pull, I'm looking for confluence here, guys. Fibonacci confluence of target boxes, kill boxes, if you will. 22.15, 22.52 would be the target if we can get this breakout. And that's an if, because if the other indices start putting in tops, I don't think you're getting above 2,100. I think you're going to fail here, pull back, retest wherever you're coming to. 618 is 1873 or 1818 or 1813, I'm sorry, down here, or it could be slightly higher up. You could pull back, and then you're going to come back up, and these will be your targets most likely on the next big rally, big pump to the upside. Lots of people are trying to buy small caps. Why? Because it's still below the all-time high by 15 or 20%. So they think this is the play in the marketplace, but it's not. These are horrible companies to own going into a recession. They're extremely sensitive to interest rates. Doesn't mean they can't rally, guys, which is why we're going to watch this key level of 2,100. But if you fail here, it's coming back down. So this is something else that could potentially be traded. Remember, do your own due diligence when it comes to trading. Everything I say is education and entertainment purposes only. Let's move forward, because AMD, we have talked about in this channel for a long time, been looking for a trade setup for AMD. You guys see the gigantic W pattern here on AMD. Look at this beaut. This is a beaut. This stock is trading with an over 300 PE. According to Bloomberg, 321 according to Bloomberg as of Friday. Keep in mind, Tesla got up to 400 when it was at its peak valuation in the bubble back in 2021. Tesla got up to 400, and now it's half that price right now. All of these are bubble stocks, guys. These are all bubble stocks. My 1618 appears at 216. So I want to find confluence for this. We're going to go to the previous all-time high, pull it down to that market low, and I get 232. So between 216 and 232, I want to see this settle down here, somewhere down here, or somewhere up here, I should say. 216 to 232, start building me some type of pattern, some type of kill box that we can look for a trade, because I think this is going to be a fantastic stock to short, because it's so overvalued. When this starts breaking down, gives us a pattern to trade, whether it's a double top or a five-way pattern, gives us something that we can trade, gives a lower high here, something like that, and start breaking down for a retracement. This should retrace strongly. And as you guys know, FOMO stocks tend to retrace strongly. And then, of course, it'll bottom and then blow back off to the upside. So that will be a fun one as well. Watch 216 to 232 here in this range. Let's go ahead and move forward. Let's look at Bitcoin. Bitcoin on a 3-day chart. So went over this in depth on Thursday's video, guys. So watch Thursday's video for a deep dive into what I'm expecting for Bitcoin. But again, I think that final blow off top for Bitcoin is going to be between 73K and 80K. I walked you through it in the last video, so I'm not going to do that again. What I can tell you, look at your fib projection. I mean, look how close the 1618 hit here. 64,299, BingX chart. Bitcoin got to 64,391, less than $100 on a $64,000 asset. Okay, so that's your key resistance here on a 3-day chart. Let's look at this on a daily. On a daily, we still only have a couple candles. Very, very tight candle pattern here. Let's go down to the 8 hours and get some more candles. So we look at this on an 8-hour time frame. Bitcoin's holding up very well here, right? You have your hit to the 64,299. Like I told you in the last video, guys, it depends how Bitcoin wants to play the game. If it wants to accumulate like it did last time, remember we were talking about the bias going to the upside, and of course, Bitcoin broke out just like we thought it would on this channel. When you talk about how Bitcoin's stacking candles, and when it stacks in these tight ranges, sometimes it just breaks back up after it coils long enough, right? So it's all going to depend. Could it pull down and give us some type of basing structure? We went over to that last video where those ranges could be 49K to down to 43K and then give us the big blow off. But either way, whether it coils tightly here and breaks to the upside for an extended period of time like it did last time, or it starts building a top and retracing, then I'm looking for that blow off top there, 73K to 80K. That's my Bitcoin target. Lots of people, I read the comments, guys. Lots of people have much higher targets. Totally understand that. My targets have been pretty damn close, including the downside target of 10.5 when Bitcoin was above 60K and it went to 15.5. Okay, so that's just what I see in the charts. We'll see how this plays out as far as what it does. When you look at this on an 8-hour time frame, you don't have a lot still, guys. I mean, not since the Thursday video anyways. You have a 3-wave pattern here. Let me open this up. You have a 3-wave pattern, which is nothing more than a double top, right? So you have a move up, move down, move back up, lower, high. You pull a fib on here, put a fib up here from that high to the low, you got to the 618, 62,879, but you're so, once again, just going extremely tight here in the range, very tight, going sideways. Let's look at this. Let me put my caterpillar on here. You can see the caterpillar has expanded so much that you could easily come up to 66K here if it wants to just burst back up and retest this. Look how tight that constriction is. You see this on an 8-hour time frame? This is how you know when volatility is compressed, you're going to get an explosion. Look at the explosion. And right now you're really wide open on an 8-hour time frame. What are you doing on the daily time frame? Daily time frame, you're above the caterpillar. So guys, this could be a while. You could be going sideways here for a little bit before you decide to make any type of move at all. Let's go ahead and turn this off. And let's just look at what supports you really need to hold here if you're just going to keep accumulating. Again, it's not a lot of candles to even be talking about this, but we need to add our fibs back on here. The 5, the 382, hit okay. I mean, you can't even use this fib. You have to get closer up on it. So let's go back to, we need more candles to do this. Let's go to the 5-hour time frame. You can see this range here basically, right? So, I mean, you're just in a really tight range. So the fibs don't even matter really. You're above the 382. You got down to the 0.5 in a very small fib pool here, right? So you're just going literally sideways, stacking candles. I don't see a trade yet here, guys. And you're blown out as far as the indicators are concerned. If we look at the daily on the indicators, let's look at the MFI. MFI, you got your big wave up, you came back down, and you're selling off a little bit here. But, again, this is going to go sideways. If it goes sideways like before, you can see that explosion up to 73.80K, but this could be coiling for a while. If it starts getting more volatility, that's when there's more danger. But if it gets more volatility, you start making patterns and you start making shapes. What do I mean by that? If Bitcoin has its up move, it starts coming down, let's say testing whatever, 55K, bounces back up, comes back up, makes a higher low, does something like this, fails back at resistance again, comes back down. If it starts moving around a lot, there's a lot of trading going on, and you can start making double tops, W patterns, M patterns, different trades. When you're just going literally sideways, that's a no trade for me. Let's go ahead and move forward. Solana. Solana is doing what we thought it would. We talked about this last video as well. Solana got above this fractal, the 127 fractal. It came up to our target levels, our kill box zone that we were looking for on Solana on a 3-day chart. We had 131 to 139. You are currently at 128 and you got up to 137. So right in the kill box. This is a 3-day chart. So let's get some more candles here. Let's look at the daily. Daily time frame, again, you just got a few candles. 131 is your key resistance. Beneath you supports at 124. So you want to watch that. Let's go down to the 8-hour time frame. 8-hour time frame, you're just selling off in a little bit of a flag pattern here. So let's see if Solana can hold this range, above 125, I guess basically above this fractal 122, and see what kind of shape or something you make here to give you an idea of what Solana is going to do. Because right now you don't have a whole lot. Key targets above you be 139, 151. Those would be your upside targets. You need to hold above 125, but you're just kind of drifting and flagging. Again, tight coiling pattern still. So you're going to have to see what happens with Bitcoin, right? Look for all the alts as usual to move with them. Looking at Ethereum here on our daily time frame, guys, we got just below our target of the 2618 at 3575. Ethereum's at 3400, and this is still in the daily time frame. Could just be a rollover pattern to do something like this. And then is it going to be a lower high or a higher low? It's a difference of doing this type of pattern, right? There's your low, there's your higher low, your W, come up to 35.75, find that as resistance. Or do you do this type of pattern where you come down, come back up, hit the 618 or 786, and then break back down? You can trade that top. So right now, nothing here on Ethereum. I bet you if we put this on like a 5-hour, bunch of sideways candles. I mean, you can see all the alts, or at least these two, extremely tight, going sideways, matching Bitcoin, right? So let's talk about the DAX. I like to trade the DAX. The DAX is one of the top 10 things traded on SimpleFX week after week. Looking at our fib pools, guys, there's a couple of fib pools here. So when we look at our fib pools on the DAX, this Fibonacci projection here, we're right at the 1272 at 17,791. The larger fib pool from this projection here of your July high, just like the Dow, by the way, right? Coincidence, right? Just like the Dow, July high to October low, 1618, 17,821. If the Dow has stalled out and the Dow has found its top, then in my belief, so is the DAX. Right here at 17,821. Why do I say that? The Dow's up 21%. 21% from its October low. What is the DAX up from its October low? The exact same percentage, 21% from its low. The Dow and the DAX track together, right? So you need to understand that when you're looking at this. If the Dow found the top, the DAX found the top. If the Dow starts selling off, the DAX is going to start selling off. And conversely, if the Dow breaks out or the DAX breaks out, you could look for the other one to break out. But I think if the Dow holds its top, because the Dow got there first, the DAX is going to hold this top. So this is a trading opportunity up at 17,821 that I am looking at. I want to see how this opens in futures on Sunday, see what happens on Monday. If we pump back up, because I believe the high was a little bit higher here, 17,850 was the high. Right now, you're at 17,764. Be nice to get that last 100 points. Maybe we can retest the high range. But if the Dow doesn't break out, guys, I'm looking at trading the DAX here in this range. Let's go ahead and move forward. The Nikkei 225, the Japanese index, we got to our 40,000 key psychological target, and it just keeps going. Right now, the PE on the Nikkei's 35, according to Bloomberg. This thing's just running, and they're just letting it run. I mean, damn, this would have been a great long to take. This is outperforming basically all the indices around the world now, but it's at 40,220. This thing moves hundreds of points in a day. It went up 915 points on Friday. Okay. This thing can really move. The next key level of resistance, 41,310. I don't think there's a big catalyst for the Nikkei to stop running until the Bank of Japan gets rid of the yield curve control and you see the yen start to strengthen versus the US dollar. So I don't know, this thing could just keep going and going. We'll watch it. It's way overvalued right now. So I'm not interested in longing this thing because I don't know where it's going to top exactly. Next key level, 41,310, which is just about 1,000 points away. So we'll see if it gets up to that level and if it starts to make some type of shape for us to actually trade, because this is just small accumulation, leg up, small accumulation, leg up, and it keeps going and going. All right, guys, I hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. Hope you enjoy this video. Leave me your questions, your comments. As always, check out our Discord, BingX and SimpleFX will pay for your first month. Check out that SimpleFX tournament, Messagely, and Telegram with any questions you might have. I'll talk to you guys all in the next transmission.